Hello, my name is Barbara Leland, and I'm a certified holistic health coach in Huntington Beach, and I do the healthy eating classes here at Hoag Cancer Center. So thank you for joining today. We're going to be making a very delicious summertime salad, and you won't even know that it's so good for you. So let's bring on the healthy. And let's talk first about the ingredients that are in our salad. And to get it out of the way, I'm going to tell you that all of these ingredients listed, the pineapple, blah, blah, red peppers, etc., these are all high in phytochemicals. Remember we were talking last week about the phytochemicals and how important they are and how they help protect your body from disease, just like they help protect the plants from disease, fungus, insects, etc. They also help your body from disease, protect your body from disease. So they're high in phytochemicals, they're high in antioxidants, and they're also anti-inflammatory. So I'm not going to say that on each screen, okay? But know that all of these it does apply to all of these. And also, so other benefits of pineapple, they're super high in vitamin C. And if you remember, when we're eating things that have iron in them, plant iron, we want to make sure we include vitamin C so that we absorb the iron. They contain enzymes, bromelain, and that helps digestion. And also, bromelain is also the reason why pineapple is anti-inflammatory. And bromelain also might help fight cancer. They're doing research on that. So pineapple is super good. They don't call it a superfood, but I am. Red peppers. On this, I want you to pay attention. See, this one has nothing after the pineapple, but this on red peppers, I put organic. So on this, I'm going to show you the items that really are most important to have organic. If you can do everything organic, that's great, but there are some things that it is less necessary than others. So red peppers need to be organic. They're super high again in vitamin C. And you should know that when you roast the peppers or when you cook most items, you're going to lose some of the nutrients, but it's by about 25%. And these are so high in vitamin C, we can afford to lose a little 25%. They're high in vitamin A. They're a great source of B6 and B9, which is folate. And they're high in potassium, and potassium is super important for your blood pressure, as well as other things, but it's really good for your blood pressure. So that's red pepper. Corn, again, organic. If it's not organic, it's going to be GMO. You really want to make sure there's a new GMO-free project that are not necessarily organic, but they are GMO-free and they're certified. I just have been reading about that lately. It's hard to find organic corn. It's really hard to find. So I'm going to be reading more about the GMO-free corn, and I'll report back and let you know. That corn is high in fiber. It's sweet, but it ranks low on the glycemic index, even though some people have said it does increase their glycemic index a little, their blood sugar when they're testing it, but it does rank low on the glycemic index. It's got vitamin B6 and folate again, just like the red pepper did, thiamine, B1, and again, potassium. Now, we're going to be using 2 different oils in this recipe, and there's a reason for it. We're going to be using avocado oil for the grilling, and we're going to be using olive oil for the tossing. And when we're using the avocado oil, what we're going to be using is a naturally refined avocado oil and cold pressed. The olive oil is cold pressed, unrefined, okay? And here's why. So look at this chart, and if you want, at a later time, you can come back to the slides that are posted underneath the YouTube. And this chart tells you the smoke point of different oils. And you want to pay attention to that, because when it goes past the smoke point, it becomes toxic. So let's see where olive oil is. Extra virgin olive oil is all the way down on the bottom, the 1, 2, 3 up. So it's 350 is the smoke point on extra virgin olive oil. That's not refined olive oil. And by the way, you don't want refined olive oil. You want to go with the extra virgin. okay? So 350, if you're roasting something, the max you want to roast at with olive oil would be 350. But when we're at the barbecue, chances are really good that it's higher than 350. Here's what the grill temps are on the barbecue. So medium heat, 325 to 350. I don't know about you, but I am not a medium heat person. I turn that on and I crank it up. So we want to be careful. Going back to this, the refined avocado oil is 520 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the smoke point. So we're going to be okay using that. We don't, and as I said, we don't want the refined olive oil because it's low quality. Even though it has a higher smoke point, it's going to have toxins. It's going to be toxic. Peanut oil has a higher smoke point, but it's high in omega-6. Clarified butter, well, we know butter, it's tasty, but it's high in saturated fat. Corn oil is high in omega-6. Sunflower oil could be okay. Vegetable oil, that's usually high in omega-6 and trans fat. And then canola oil is high in omega-6, GMO, and trans fat. So now I'm just giving you this so you can see why I'm using the avocado oil. And then again, naturally refined means it's mechanically refined. They're not using chemicals, solvents, or caustic soda. And they have the temperature controlled strictly so that it's not overheated. And it's cold pressed, so that means your oil's not been heated in the process of extraction. So those are the things you want to look for. And it's not hard to find. Again, here we have this Chosen Foods. That one is cold pressed, naturally refined, and you're going to find that typically, if you go to a health food store, Whole Foods, Sprouts, Mother's, probably now even Ralph's or Albertsons or things like that. Okay, so we talked about this, and we talked about this. So you want to watch your grill temperatures depending on the oils that you're using. So we're using quinoa, and I do get mine sometimes at Trader Joe's, and they also have, if you use big bags of quinoa, which I often do, they have it at Costco, organic. It's a complete protein. It's one of the very few vegetable proteins that are complete proteins. High fiber, has magnesium, vitamin B, vitamin E, potassium again, calcium, phosphorus. And because it has a natural coating that tastes bitter to bugs, they don't have to use too much pesticide on quinoa. But I don't know if you remember when we were talking before about oats a couple of seminars ago, oats or wheat and things like that. When they harvest the quinoa or the grains, they spray it with glyphosate, which is in Roundup. That's what is in Roundup, to hasten the drying time. And that's why you want to get organic, because they don't do it on the organic grains. Blueberries, we want organic. They're a good source of vitamin K. They're so delicious right now. They're a good source of manganese. They help with your LDL cholesterol. They help with your blood pressure, your brain function and memory, and your blood sugar. So that is considered a superfood on the superfood list, and you can see why. Red onion, the benefits of the red onion, they help your blood pressure, they help your brain function, they're easy to digest for some, they aid in liver support, they're non-acidic actually, even though onions can be acidic, and they may help control your blood sugar. And then black beans, we're going to use organic, and again, it's very, well, it says here non-organic quinoa, but the black beans, the same situation as the quinoa, sprayed with glyphosate to hasten the drying time for beans and grains, okay? So they're high fiber, high protein. They are not a complete protein, but they are high protein, and we'll talk about that in a minute. They help lower blood pressure. They help with blood sugar. Super good for you. Cilantro, organic. You want to make sure it's organic, and it helps your blood sugar. It's very good for your blood sugar. It also, the seed of the cilantro plant, which is coriander, is also very good for your blood sugar. super cleansing, especially for heavy metals like mercury. So, if you're eating fish, you might be taking in more mercury than you'd like. Try to include cilantro in your diet on a regular basis. And it's delicious. I know some people don't like the taste because to them, something with their taste buds, it tastes like soap. I am very sorry. I don't know what to say for you. It's antimicrobial. It can help protect against food poisoning, which is pretty cool. And it's antifungal. Power greens, and those you want organic, and they're high in iron. They're a good source of calcium, great source of potassium. Any leafy greens are a really good source of potassium. Also, and I don't have it here, but they're also a good source of calcium. And they help your blood pressure because of that potassium. Okay, that really helps with blood sugar. And then apple cider vinegar. If you're not familiar with apple cider vinegar, it's a nice tasting vinegar. You want it to be organic, raw, unfiltered, and with the mother. So what the heck is the mother? So the mother is you're going to see a little bit of cloudiness in the apple cider vinegar, and that's the proteins, enzymes, and friendly bacteria that's in the apple cider vinegar. And we all know that we want more friendly bacteria in our gut. It's antimicrobial, it's antioxidant, and it may help lower blood sugar during a high-carb meal. So that's kind of interesting. It can help, like cinnamon helps process sugar, this can also help process carbs. So it tastes good. It tastes really good. Now, this I'm showing Bragg's organic, which was the only game in town for a long time. But now Trader Joe's also has the organic, raw, unfiltered with the mother apple cider vinegar. And you want to get it in glass too, by the way. And both Bragg's and Trader Joe's are in glass. Okay, avocado, healthy fats, which is good for your brain, your heart health, and can also help with antioxidant absorption. It's high in insoluble fiber, high in vitamin K, and it's high in potassium again, even more than banana. So this recipe has a lot of things that is high in potassium. So your blood pressure is really going to be thanking you after this meal. Okay, so I just wanted to touch, I know that we'll talk about questions, maybe we'll take some questions first before we start cooking, but also I wanted to just touch on that complete protein. I was talking about quinoa being the only vegetable source, not the only, but one of the few vegetable sources of complete proteins. So black beans are also a source of protein, but they're not a complete protein. But when they combine with the quinoa, they become a complete protein. So you want to always try to make sure you're having complete protein when you're eating vegetarian meals, because that's going to be more beneficial for you, and you're going to be able to absorb the protein the way you should. So now let me take these couple of questions. If you can't have the pineapple or the onions, so okay, the question is, what can I substitute if I can't have pineapple or onions? So the pineapple is pretty integral to this recipe, but you can always change things up. So maybe some grilled peaches would be nice. Grilled fruits of any type, plums, peaches, anything that you can throw on the grill, I think would be delicious in this recipe. You're also probably, if you can't have the pineapple or onions, you're probably not going to want the chipotle either. But that's okay. The rest of the stuff you'll be able to have. And the grilled fruit can be substituted. Now, for the onion, you could maybe do some fennel. Chop up some fennel and throw that in. To give it more flavor, I think maybe I'd throw the fennel on the barbecue too. So try it with some grilled fruits and maybe some grilled fennel, okay? So that's it for the questions for now. Let's start cooking. Okay, so what we're going to do here today is we're going to First, I think the recipe says to first mix the quinoa and etc. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to cut up the pineapple. I want to show you how I did this. So I sliced the pineapple in about 1-inch slices, and then I tossed it in the dressing as we show on here. Now I'm using the avocado oil, the chipotle, and half of the salt that I'm listing on the ingredients for this dressing. So I'm just going to cut off the edges. And if you get any burnt parts that are too dark, go ahead and cut those off too, because if you remember, we talked about what happens when we're when we have the grilling. We want to be careful of that because the acrylamides can be cancer causing. Sounds like I'm from New York. So just scrape off the black part, and that'll be fine. And I tried to do this in a way that I wasn't going to get any black part, but you know, I do have that turn it up high thing, because I'm always in a hurry. Okay, so I'm just going to be throwing the fruit in here. And on the recipe it said after you grill the fruit and vegetables, leave the liquid in the bowl. You're going to use that liquid for your dressing. Oops. Make sure you get all that edge, because you don't want a bite of, you sure don't want a bite of hard rind. By the way, if you're not grilling your pineapple, but you're cutting up pineapple, and you do it kind of the same way, right? You cut it in slices, and then you cut off the rind. If you have a juicer, don't throw away those pineapple rinds. Throw them in the juicer. And I'm not a huge fan, I know we've talked about this before, of fruit juice, but I'm also not a fan of wasting stuff. So you can take the rinds, so pretend this was a raw pineapple that I was working on, and you take the rinds and throw them in your juicer. And you'll have delicious, I made a pineapple, carrot, ginger, lemon juice out of some rinds the other day. Came out great. And that way you're using all of the fruit. You're not wasting anything. Okay, so do use your rinds in your juicer. If you don't have a juicer, I don't think you could do that in the blender, because you're going to blend up all the... If anybody tries it and finds that it works, let me know, but you're going to blend up all that rind part, and that's going to be in your juice, unless you strain it afterwards. I'm just not sure. But it is good in the juice, if you make it as a juice. So I'm cutting out the, oh, and by the way, when you're doing the juice with the rind, you can also use that center part for the juice. And I truly got I used one pineapple rind, and I got a whole, like, I don't know, 16, 18 ounces of juice. So it's pretty good. And then if you combine it with other things, so it's not just fruit juice, it'll be beneficial too. Other vegetables. And I'm trying to be careful about the juice here because I don't want to waste any. It's going to go back into our dressing. I thought about cutting these up first and just leaving one to show you, because this is a little tedious, I know, sorry. But I just didn't know how to do that with the juice, and I just couldn't get my head around it, sorry. So you're going to have to bear with me on this cutting. And I'm using kind of a bread knife for this because I find it easier because of the serrated edges to cut the pineapple and the corn. And you want them to be nice chunk size. Okay, and this juice is going to go right back into our dressing. Okay. On the peppers, don't worry about the fact that you have some dark when you're grilling it. They darken up quickly, but you're going to peel that off anyway. That's the skin. So when you're grilling it, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm making it too dark. Don't worry about it. It's going to come off really easily. And then once you've got that off, then you can cut it into your slice chunks. See, it comes off easily. It's just messy. It is messy. This is a messy dish, so don't worry. You can wash your hands after. So then you just want to cut up your peppers. This is the most time-consuming part of the salad. By the way, this is a great prep salad because you can do, first of all, you'd want to do the grilling of the vegetables earlier, before you start doing the salad. You want to, the reason is because those juices are going to come out more and more and more. So after I grill the vegetables, I cover it, like I put this cutting board on top of the bowl, and it kind of steamed them. So more and more juices came out. And you can see already the colors in this salad are gorgeous. And then we're going to do the corn, and I use 2 small. I'm going to get rid of those black ones. As much as you can, get rid of the black ones, the black part. Because we don't want any of those nasty acrylamides. So what's nice is to know is that we can still barbecue, we can still grill, we just do it a little carefully. You know, don't overdo it. And, you know, the meat, it's kind of hard to cut off if you're grilling meat, so you want to be careful with that. Or just don't grill meat. But we can still enjoy barbecues in the summer. We just want to be sure that we don't take in all of that blackened stuff. And maybe you'll be better than me at not blackening it while you're doing it. And it's the sugars that are coming out of the corn and the peppers that, you know, make it blackened like that. It's like caramelized. So the taste will still be delicious even without the black part. So Albertsons, if you have an Albertsons by you, had organic corn, which was kind of amazing to be able to find it at Albertsons. But they did have organic corn. And like I said, it is not easy to find because there's been so much, the seeds of the non-organic corn go into the organic corn fields, and so less and then they test for non-organic. So it's kind of a dilemma. But again, like I said, I am going to be looking into this non-GMO certified whatever it is to see what that's all about. Okay, so now we have our vegetables chopped up and ready to go. And we're saving the juice from the grilled vegetables because that's going to become our dressing. And I need a little cleanup here. It is a messy dish, so be prepared for that. But that's okay. We like to play with our food, don't we? All right, now we're going to start with our quinoa. This is something you make ahead of time also. So you can make this. I actually made this last weekend and froze it. You can make a big batch of quinoa on Sunday. You can freeze it in containers of whatever size you want to eat each night, or whenever you want to eat it. You know what I mean? So you can make a big batch and then freeze portions. And or it will stay in the refrigerator for a few days. You don't even have to freeze it. So I'm adding the quinoa and the blueberries. The blueberries are delicious. So good right now. The red onions, and red onions, when you transport them, they are very strong. So I did double protection on that. And I cut them pretty small so you don't get a big chunk of red onion when you're eating this. Black beans, I also did ahead. So the red onions I cut this morning. The blueberries, of course, I didn't do anything to. The quinoa I made ahead of time. The grilled vegetables I made ahead of time. The black beans I made ahead of time, or you can use a can. But if you use a can, rinse them because they're gooey in the can for some reason. And you don't want gooey in your salad. Even if you make them, you want to rinse them too, but they're not as gooey. But anyway, these are totally ungooey. Black beans. And then the cilantro. And I chopped that this morning. So what did I do this morning? I chopped the onions and I chopped the cilantro. Everything else I prepared ahead of time. Is that true? That's true. Everything else I prepared ahead of time. So that's nice. I love to have a meal that you can throw together quickly because you've already done prep. So here it is so far. Now we're going to, I took the olive oil, the apple cider vinegar, and the salt, and I put it all in here. Okay, so you don't have to do it that way. You can do it right into your bowl. I just did it for transportation purposes. And I'm going to shoot. I meant to put it in there. But what you'll do is you'll put it in here and mix it together. So now we will do this and mix it together. What I normally would do is I would put it in the bowl with the juice from the vegetables, whisk it, and then pour it into here. I think it'll still be delicious, but that's how I would normally do it. Mix that together. It's already pretty, even without the rest of it. And I wish you could smell it. Again, I wish we had smell-o-vision. Okay, now we'll put in our grilled vegetables. And the taste of this is going to be delicious. So just mix everything up. And then you're going to put in your power greens. So the power greens, sometimes they're called power greens, sometimes they're called super greens. But what they consist of are kale, chard, spinach, maybe arugula sometimes. It depends on the mix. But kale, chard, and spinach are always in there. And full of iron. The spinach is the only one that doesn't absorb as well because of the oxalate. Spinach you like to cook for the iron, but we have so much of the other that that's okay. Okay, now what you could do, if you want to put even more greens, I put 5 ounces, a little bit more than here. But if you want to put even more greens in your salad, a good trick is to chop your greens. And when you chop them, they condense. You know, like when you make a smoothie, you can put a ton of greens into your smoothie, into your blender, and it condenses down to like nothing. Same when you chop, not quite the same, but when you chop up your greens, you condense them down, and you can fit a lot more into your salad, so into your system, than without chopping them. The only thing that I don't like about that as much, and depending on how much you chop it, is you still want to have the chewing factor. Your digestion starts in the mouth, and so you want the chewing factor. And when you chop it, you have less chewing, of course. But I think I should have chopped some of these because they're very big. They're usually very little baby greens. This batch is teenage greens. Not incorporating quite as easily. But, so the dressing has dispersed over all the greens. I can see that the dressing is covering all the greens, so that wasn't too bad that didn't change anything the way I did it. And scoop down to the bottom and get all that stuff from the bottom so you can get your greens submerged and tossed. And there is your salad. Now, what I would normally do is when I'm about to serve it, I would put it on the plates. So let's see, let's make this a little nicer. I would plate it, and then I would put the avocado on top. And if you have any extra cilantro, you can sprinkle that on top, and it just makes it look pretty. But there is the salad, and now I'll show you, consider this a giant bowl, a bowl for a giant. And we'll do the avocado on top, and you can see how pretty it looks. Now, the picture that I had on the slides was a picture of when I made it with some red romaine, which is very delicious, but not quite as pretty in this salad as power greens. So now you can see how it looks with the power greens instead of what was on the slide. And this makes 4 generous main servings. So I'm doing, I think on my recipe, I'm not sure what I said about the avocado, maybe too small, but this was kind of a larger one. I usually buy those mini avocados. I like those a lot because they're just the right size for 2 people. The large avocados, you know, I can definitely eat them, but they're a little bit more than a serving. You know, half is a little bit more than a serving, whereas the mini ones are perfect. And this avocado is perfect. It's beautiful. So are you salivating yet? Because I am. got the blueberries, the red onions are showing, the grilled peppers and the pineapple. And it's just nice to have that grilling ability, even if you're not eating meat. I mean, there's so many vegetarian things you can do on the barbecue. You can do portobello mushrooms that are delicious on the barbecue. All your vegetables can be done on the barbecue. Not all of them, maybe not peas, but many vegetables can be done on the barbecue. And then that is your salad. So there you have it. And it is very good. So let me see if I have any questions here. I do. And if you have questions, if you have more questions, then go ahead and put them in the chat. And if you have questions later that you want answered, you can go ahead and email me at 2life-2health@hotmail.com or visit me on my website at www.2life-2health.com. Okay, so questions. What was the juice mix with pineapple rind and what else? When I juiced the pineapple rind, I think that means, okay, I juiced it and I added carrot and I added ginger and I added lemon. I think I added some cucumber, not sure, but it was very good. That one we already answered. If you don't have a grill, what if I just combine the ingredients as you suggested? What do you think? If you don't have a grill, how about you broil them? That would give you that little bit of browning, but you don't want to get it too dark. But I think that would, because the pineapple is cooked, not 100%, but it is cooked, and so are the red peppers. And what was the other thing? The corn. So if you broil it, I think that you could get the same kind of effect, because you're tossing it, remember, with the chipotle, the salt, and the oil. And you're going to get that same kind of effect as the barbecue. Although you cannot grill frozen corn, will that be an okay substitute? Can you not grill frozen corn? I don't know. I think that if you mean frozen corn on the cob, do they have frozen corn on the cob? I'm not even sure. But if they do, I think you could grill that. If you're talking about frozen corn that's already off the cob, sure. I've seen fire roasted corn, but that was not organic. So as long as it's organic, it's still going to be good even if you can't put it on the barbecue. Do you freeze in glass? Yes, I do. Carefully, very carefully. So if I'm freezing liquids, I freeze, I leave about, a good couple of inches of space because I have had glass jars explode in my freezer. The quinoa doesn't seem to expand. I just use a, like a Snapware glass. Top is plastic, but I still leave it enough room so that it's not touching the plastic, but it doesn't expand. But if you're freezing anything with liquids, definitely leave space. Overall, what do you estimate the prep and completion time needed if done all at the same time? Well, the barbecue time at least, because you're going to try to do it on not too high a heat. That took me probably half an hour or more. So you're going to cut up the pineapple. You're going to be tired. I think if you do this all at one time, you're going to be tired. So you're going to cut up the pineapple. You're going to seed the peppers. This is kind of a lot of ingredients recipe. It's kind of good to do in steps. And plus you want to get that juice. So do grill it. Don't do the grilling at the same time because you're not going to get the same effect. You're not going to get all that juice. That's one. Two, the rest of it, you got to cook the quinoa. So whatever the cooking time is on that, maybe 20 minutes, not bad. Chop up the vegetables. I don't know. To put together the recipe without the grilling time, maybe 25 minutes. I don't think it would take you too long. No, with the cooking time of the quinoa, give yourself half an hour at least, maybe 45 minutes, but you're going to have hot quinoa going into your cold salad. So do the quinoa ahead of time too. Don't do it all at the same time. It is a little labor intensive if you do it all at once, and you won't have the grilled effect, and you'll have cold quinoa. Hot quinoa. Okay? So any more questions? Nothing else? Okay, then. I will see you July 1st. I believe that one is at 2:30. And we'll be talking about independence from junk food. Okay, so have a great weekend, and I will see you back here on July 1st. Thank you so much.